Losing a job is never easy, and being fired from a high-profile position like a news anchor can be particularly difficult. Join FactsVerse as we look at some of the high-profile cases of news anchors who were let go by their networks. Ed Henry. Ed Henry was a prominent news anchor and reporter who'd been with Fox News for more than a decade. But in July 2020, he was abruptly fired from the network following several scandals. The scandal that initially led to his suspension was a violation of ethical standards expected of journalists, as it comprised his impartiality and integrity. The subsequent scandal, which involved allegations of harassment and assault, only further tarnished his reputation. An internal investigation found evidence of willful sexual misconduct with a former employee. It became clear his continued presence on the network would only damage its image, leading to his termination. The news came as a shock to many in the industry, as Henry had been a well-respected and popular figure on the network. His firing was another example of the growing demand for accountability and transparency in the workplace, especially in the wake of the Me Too movement. Chris Cuomo. Chris Cuomo was once a top-rated anchor at CNN. He had a successful career with CNN, starting as a field reporter and moving on to co-anchor New Day before getting his own primetime show, Cuomo Primetime. But his career with the network came to a screeching halt due to his role in defending his famous brother, former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, against allegations of sexual harassment. Following the release of documents by the New York Attorney General's office, it was revealed that Cuomo had used his professional connections in journalism to obtain information about his brother's accusers. As a result, CNN terminated his employment in December 2022. He's currently suing CNN for $125 million, alleging wrongful termination. He has since started anchoring his own show on News Nation. Don Lemon. Having spent close to 2 decades with the network, Don Lemon had become one of the most familiar and identifiable figures on CNN. In a surprising turn of events earlier this month, he took to Twitter to express his shock and disbelief after spending 17 long years with them. He lamented the lack of transparency from management, having received no indication that he wouldn't be able to continue his work with the network. Though he acknowledged there were likely larger issues at play, he remained grateful for the chance he was given. Despite the unfortunate circumstances surrounding his departure, he took the time to thank his colleagues and the numerous teams he had worked with over the years. After Don expressed his surprise and disappointment over his departure from CNN on Twitter, the network disputed his statement, claiming it was not entirely true. CNN clarified Lemon had been allowed to meet with management regarding his departure, but had instead chosen to make a public statement on Twitter. Despite that clarification, it was clear Lemon's time with the network had ended. While his departure from the network may have been clouded in controversy, Lemon remained a prominent figure in the media industry, continuing to speak out on important issues and advocate for change. Amy Robach and T.J. Holmes. Amy Robach and T.J. Holmes were well-respected anchors at ABC News before their careers abruptly stopped in November of 2022, after photos revealing their romantic relationship were made public. Robach had a long history with the network, having started as a correspondent on Good Morning America in 2012, before being promoted to news anchor in 2014. Holmes joined ABC News in 2014 and served as a key correspondent for Good Morning America before becoming a co-anchor with Robach on GMA3 What You Need to Know in 2020. But their relationship ultimately led to their downfall at the network. ABC News temporarily took them off the air in December 2022 following reports of their affair, and both Robach and Holmes were officially fired January 2023. The news sent shockwaves through the industry, as both anchors had been well-liked and respected by colleagues and viewers alike. They have since gone public with their relationship, showing love can bloom even amid professional turmoil. Bill O'Reilly. Bill O'Reilly was once one of the most powerful figures in cable news, hosting the O'Reilly Factor on Fox News for 16 years. His career came crashing down in April 2017 after a bombshell report by the New York Times exposed a series of harassment lawsuits brought against him, as well as the millions of dollars he had paid out in settlements to his accusers. The revelations caused a significant backlash, with advertisers quickly pulling their support from the show, leading to a loss of revenue. Despite initial initially weathering the storm, O'Reilly was eventually forced out of the network, ending his tenure as the king of cable news. He has continued to maintain a presence in the media world, hosting a show on the conservative streaming platform The First TV. O'Reilly's fall from grace serves as a cautionary tale about the importance of integrity and consequences of unethical behavior. Tucker Carlson. Earlier this month, it was reported Tucker Carlson had been informed of his departure from Fox News just 10 minutes before the network announced it to the public. The news came amid a high-profile defamation lawsuit filed by Dominion Voting Systems against Fox News, which alleged that the network had spread false claims about the company's involvement in the 2020 U.S. presidential election. Carlson, who had been the host of Tucker Carlson Tonight, had been a polarizing figure at the network, often courting controversy with his inflammatory commentary on a range of topics. Despite his departure, Fox News praised Carlson for his service as both a host and contributor. The network announced that Fox News Tonight would be helmed by rotating personalities until a permanent replacement was found. Matt Lauer. Matt Lauer was a beloved fixture of NBC's Today morning show for an impressive 20-year run. During his tenure, he interviewed numerous high-ranking political figures, covered multiple Olympic Games, and earned a jaw-dropping $20 million annual salary. But his successful career came to a screeching halt in November of 2017 when NBC fired him following allegations of inappropriate behavior by a female colleague. As more allegations surfaced, some sources claimed the network had long been aware of Lauer's misconduct and had chosen to turn a blind eye. Lauer responded to the allegations with a statement expressing embarrassment but dismissing some of the accusations as false. Charlie Rose. Charlie Rose was a veteran TV journalist with over 4 decades of experience who had built a reputation for himself as a respected anchor on multiple networks. But his once stellar career came to a stunning halt in 2017 when he became embroiled in the Me Too movement. In November of that year, an explosive article by the Washington Post revealed multiple allegations of misconduct against the host. The allegations sent shockwaves through the industry, and within 24 hours, Rose's shows were suspended and he was removed from his anchor position. He issued an apology in which he accepted responsibility for his actions, but his attempt to undermine some of the allegations against him only served to further fuel the backlash against him. Eric Bolling. Eric Bolling had a successful career as a conservative pundit and TV host, beginning his journey as a financial analyst on CNBC's Fast Money. He later switched to Fox Business Network, eventually rising to become one of the hosts on The Five. But Bolling's meteoric rise at Fox was cut short in September 2017 when an explosive article by HuffPost accused him of misconduct. The report claimed Bolling had repeatedly sent inappropriate pictures and text messages to female coworkers. He denied the allegations, but Fox suspended him while they conducted an investigation. Soon the network announced Bolling had been dismissed and his show was canceled. Now it's time to hear from you. Do you think there will be more prominent anchors who get kicked out in 2023? Let us know in the comments section below.